Welcome, brothers. You know, I generally only view the videos of a handful of people who I think have a more sophisticated appreciation of the issues we're trying to come to grips with here on YouTube. But every so often I'll surf around to see if there's any new, original, insightful or informed contributions to the debate that might help me improve the quality of my own content. Unfortunately, that rarely happens, and I have to resort to non-black sources to get quality analysis and discussion of these issues. You see, I think the problem with us is too many of us make the fundamental mistake of reducing all the problems we talk about regarding black male-female relations down to one of personal choice and personal responsibility. If only people would make better choices, then the problems would go away and we'd all live happily ever after. If black women stopped choosing thugs, they'd never have any problems with black men. If black men behaved more responsibly, most black children would have fathers in their lives. If we restored traditional male-female roles in the black community, we'd all live in love and harmony forever and ever. Amen. Is there anyone who can see how naive this is? If it was this easy to make people do the quote-unquote right thing, then we wouldn't need any laws whatsoever. Telling people, for example, not to commit murder does not stop them from committing murder. However, having a law which makes murder illegal stops more murder and more people killing each other than would be the case if we didn't have that law and a moral code against murder which tells people that it is wrong to commit murder. That's how you get most people not to commit murder. You don't appeal to them not to commit murder. You don't say, well, if less people killed, we'd have less murder. Which is exactly the same thing as saying if women stopped choosing thugs, they'd have less reason to complain about black men. No. You have to create a system of rewards and punishments that encourages good behavior and deters bad behavior, which you apply with equal force on everybody, man, woman, old and young alike. Leaving it up to the individual to regulate his or her own behavior will not work. This is exactly what we have now, especially in relation to female conduct. Male conduct is far more tightly regulated in pretty much all arena. In fact, men are still held to the same moral standards of behavior they were held to decades ago. Not so with women. Female behavior has been completely deregulated, and unlike in the past where female behavior, especially in regards to sexual matters, was tightly regulated. In the countries of our ancestors, we had arranged marriages. Your parents picked your husband or your wife. There was no question of women choosing thugs in an arranged marriage system. And there's no question of some horny teenager getting his girlfriend pregnant because the sexes were kept separate and girls chaperoned. Now, I'm not advocating arranged marriage. Well, not at this time at least. I only mention arranged marriage to illustrate one of the ways different cultures regulate sexual conduct. In this society, there is no legal, moral or social regulation on people's sexual behavior. The only deterrent we have against sexual irresponsibility is applied against men, and men only, not women, and that comes in the form of child support. Men are deterred from participating in recreational sex by the threat of unwanted pregnancy and the consequent child support they will be liable for, while women are treated as victims and rewarded with money and a plethora of other goodies from the government. So what am I saying here? I'm saying make the connection between what you see going on at street level between black men and women and the laws, values and social attitudes that proscribe the nature of relations between us as they stand today. We live in societies that have completely divested themselves of all the social and legal controls that once regulated male and female sexual conduct. We're not allowed to judge anymore. Well, at least not women's conduct. The only legitimate targets for our judgment and condemnation are men. And that comes from the politician holding the highest office right down to the man on the street. We've seen this when Obama only attacked fathers in his Father's Day speech, but had nothing to say about women's irresponsibility. We need to demand that the government addresses both sides of the problem, the male and female sides that is, and demand that all the controls, both legal and social, that once regulated the sexual conduct of both men and women are reinstated. Otherwise, it's all just empty ranting with no substance. Join us later.